Alright then, let's see what's on TV.
We've all got a lot on our plates right now, but here's something you'll want to make room for. The story of a food so natural, it takes the rain from the sky and the plants we humans cannot eat and turns it into something wonderful. Essential nutrients our bodies need to help us stay healthy. Meat and dairy. Enjoy the food you eat. Eat balanced.
No. This is just not acceptable. I think I need to redo this advert.
So the AHDB here in the UK have just released a brand new campaign, and part of the campaign involves an advert that is currently being screened on British televisions. The advert is of course promoting meat and dairy, and it uses the tagline "We eat balanced" to do that. Interestingly enough, according to the AHDB, eating balanced doesn't mean eating dogs and cats and dolphins and whales and animals that are consumed in other countries around the world. Coincidentally and conveniently, you might say, eating balanced just involves consuming the animals that the animal farmers who fund the AHDB actually farm. But hold up, who exactly are the AHDB? Well, the AHDB is a levy board that farmers and growers in the UK absolutely have to pay into. It's like an extra tax for farmers and growers here. Now, the purpose of the funds is that the AHDB is supposed to use them for promotional campaigns such as this We Eat Balanced one that we're talking about today. If you live in the US, think of it as being similar to the Dairy Checkoff program or the Egg Board. These are levy boards that farmers pay into, and then that money is used to promote to consumers the product that the farmers and growers produce. Now, the board members for the AHDB have to be picked by the UK government, which is very problematic when the head of DEFRA right now, DEFRA being the Department for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, is someone by the name of George Eustice. Now, George Eustice's family own a farm where they raise and kill cows and pigs. Now, why exactly is this important? Well, you may remember that last year I released a video talking about how the UK government was paying for a promotional campaign for the dairy industry. It's called Milk Your Moment. Now, what's interesting about the campaign is that the AHDB spent £200,000 on that campaign, but the UK government spent £500,000. DEFRA spent £500,000, which is taxpayers' money. And so the UK taxpayer spent more money promoting the dairy industry than the levy board that uses money from farmers to promote their industry. So the UK taxpayer was doing the job of the AHDB. And so now you can see why it's problematic when the head of DEFRA is someone whose family works in the farming industries. Now, just imagine what would have happened if the UK government this January spent £500,000 promoting veganuary or just promoting oat milk. There would be complete uproar. It would be a scandal. And yet £500,000 of UK taxpayers' money is spent promoting the dairy industry, outspending the levy boards that exist solely to promote these industries. And besides, the UK government has no business promoting an industry that is killing billions of animals, contributing to so much suffering and destroying the environment at the same time. It's completely outrageous that the MPs that are voted in to serve the people are serving the private financial interests of an industry that is crumbling all around us. It shows just how detached these industries are, but also more importantly, how closely connected these industries are with the politicians that are supposed to be serving the people, but are actually serving these financial ventures instead. But anyway, back to the business at hand, which is the advert, of course. And if we look on the webpage where the AHDB are promoting their new campaign, you'll see this statement: "We are embarking on a new marketing drive to inform and educate consumers on how eating a balanced diet, which includes red meat and dairy, is a sustainable way to enjoy food." Now, you're probably thinking, Ed, why would you highlight that statement? It seems so obvious that that's something the AHDB would say. I mean, it seems completely in alignment with their messaging. Well, I'm glad you asked, because last year the CEO of the AHDB, Jane King, wrote a complaint to the BBC saying that the BBC had overstated the environmental benefit of going vegan. She challenged the BBC's claims by citing a 2017 study that was produced by Lund University in Sweden. Now, the purpose of the study was to look at the best ways that we can reduce our individual greenhouse gas emissions. And they highlighted 4 main ways in which we can do this. The first way they highlighted, number 1, was having 1 fewer children. The second best thing that we could do is be car-free. The third thing that we could do is not to travel by planes. And the fourth thing we could do is adopt a plant-based diet. Now, strangely enough, the study itself actually cites a plant-based diet as being a diet that just avoids all meat. It doesn't mention anything about dairy or eggs. And so if you read the study, it sounds like they're talking about being vegetarian. Of course, being vegan as well encompasses what we wear, which has a huge environmental impact as well. So there's a big omission in that regard. Also, the study doesn't look at the carbon capture potential of being vegan, which, according to this study, says that by the year 2050, we could sequester 16 years worth of carbon dioxide by just adopting a plant-based diet. The study also doesn't look at things like acidification and eutrophication and land use and deforestation, habitat destruction and species extinction, because of course, going vegan doesn't just reduce our emissions, it reduces all of these other problems as well. But anyway, this is kind of all beside the point, because what's really important to note is that the AHDB on their website have cited a study that says that eliminating meat from your diet is the 4th best thing that you can do to reduce your personal environmental impact when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions. Now that seems like an awfully strange thing for a pro-animal farming organization to tout. In fact, the AHDB went one step further. They said it was a victory that the BBC changed their original statement to this: one of the biggest things that you can do is go vegan. How is that a victory for a pro-animal farming organization?
I hear victory, 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 victory.
That sounds like a complete own goal to me. And not only is it an own goal because it contradicts their messaging, but it also reveals them to be incredibly deceitful and also manipulative, because they're saying with this advert and with the statement that I just read out that eating meat and dairy is a sustainable way for us to live. And yet they cite and promote studies that contradict that very point. So it's time for us consumers to realize that this information that we're being given in this campaign, indeed, and other campaigns that the AHDB have been a part of, it's pure propaganda. It's misinformation, it's misleading, and they're knowingly propagating this misinformation. They're knowingly doing something that contradicts what they're fully aware the science is showing. It's complete propaganda. It's such a poor advert that does such a bad job of getting across any information to the consumer. Who is it appealing to? It's not appealing to the youth, it's not appealing to younger generations, which are the generations they need to appeal to. These industries are so disconnected and they are scrambling to do anything, but whatever they do, it just doesn't work, and it won't work because they're propagating lies and because the messaging will always be at odds with how society is progressing. And look, in the advert they make claims about B12 and protein. We've been through this so many times. If this is all you can do as an industry is talk about protein and B12, then you are instantly showing yourselves to be struggling. Protein, easy. B12, most of these animals are supplemented with B12 anyway, even the ones that are grazing outside. A lot of the soils in the UK are cobalt deficient, which means a lot of these outdoor grazing animals are given B12 fortified foods and supplements as well. It's just a non-argument and a non-starter. And the whole thing about, oh, well, it turns grass into food we can consume. There doesn't need to be grass there. There doesn't need to be farms in that land. We can reforest so much of the UK. These grasslands exist because they're managed and manufactured lands because animal farmers want to graze animals on these lands. We can do whatever we want with this land. Grazing animals on it is so bad for the environment, and just because we can't physically eat grass doesn't justify the existence of animal farming, especially when animal farming is the most violent and disgusting thing that exists. The things that we do to animals every single day, and the justification that animal farmers want to use is, well, humans can't eat grass themselves. Well, I suppose that makes slicing the throats of animals perfectly morally justified then because humans can't consume grass. This is it. This is what you have in retaliation to try and change the consumer attitudes away from veganuary, something that is just so poor and so irrelevant. And so I decided, well, look, if the AHDB can release an advert in which they are knowingly lying to the consumer, then it's only fair that I release an advert that gives the consumer a truthful and honest depiction of what animal farming is actually like for the animals and indeed, of course, for the planet as well. And so I've put together this little advert, which I'm about to show now, but I'll also put it up as a separate video on its own because I'm paying for this advert to be put out on a YouTube ad. So hopefully For all the people who see the AHDB advert, they'll also see this advert as well. So I hope you guys like it, and please do share it around as well. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and let me know down below what you think of this advert.
We've all got a lot on our plates right now, but here's something you don't want to ignore. The story of a food so unethical, it takes the life of an animal, destroys the environments we humans rely on, and then in return creates something terrible. A product containing cholesterol and saturated fat that can cause disease. Meat and dairy. It's time to change the food we eat. Eat plant-based.